If you've played Team Fortress 2 within the last, 5 to 6 years, this is gonna be a familiar sight. Cheater bots. They're a problem, Valve does nothing, it sucks. In my previous video, I analyzed TF2's daily player counts and presented solid evidence that about 70% of TF2's player count, as reported by Steam, at minimum, are bots. But not cheater bots, like those you see in-game, but farms of bots idling for TF2's free item drops. The difference between idle bots and cheater bots is that idlers are largely imperceptible. Cheater bots actively disrupt the game, so, you see them, you feel them. But you never see idle bots, let alone entire networks of them, called botnets. Those tens of thousands of bots only exist as a number to you. And the biggest shortcoming from my previous video was that I did not provide concrete proof of their existence, only statistical evidence. I now have that proof. Yeah, it's a cold start to a video, but let's begin. Before I show you what a botnet looks like, I need to correct a mistake from my first video. I originally said that most idle bots stay in the main menu, farming case drops instead of item drops. This is wrong. Cases are not the primary target for idle bots. They're actually more of a byproduct. This is because idle bots do idle inside of game servers, receiving normal weapon drops, item drops, cosmetic drops, and of course, cases. But we never come across these bots in-game. The reason for that is because TF2 players don't need to be inside official Valve servers to receive item drops. Unlike Counter-Strike players, you only need to be inside of a VAC-secured server. So, all bot hosters need to do is fire up some VAC-secured private servers and then set their bots out to idle. Given that TF2 can still run in text mode, this is how we have tens of thousands of idlers, circumventing all of the restrictions Valve placed on idling many years ago, simply by their sheer numbers. These private servers don't show up in the server browser, but the bots inside of them still contribute towards the player count on Steam, because they're recognized as being online. These bots are not, however, recorded by websites like teamwork.tf, because this website cannot see accounts inside of private servers. Ergo, they're not accounted for in daily server activity. So does this mean that my previous video's estimate on the number of bots is incorrect? Well, no, because the number of humans inside of private servers is likely near zero. Unless there's some underground hidden society of TF2 players with secret servers, there's no widespread reason why any community servers, let alone real players, would need to be private. Alright, that clarification aside, on to my biggest shortcoming. I did not provide tangible proof of the existence of idle bots, let alone entire botnets. As I was making my first video, I didn't know how to prove it. Now I do. So let's go fishing. The convenient thing about fishing for botnets is that they have no choice but to take your bait. And it's so easy, anyone can give it a shot. So, if you don't believe what you're about to see, you can try this yourself. And like many ideas or experiments on the internet, I didn't come up with this one myself. This was originally devised on 4chan of all places. The experiment? You just send out a bunch of junk with giftapults and see where it ends up. This is a beautifully simple and direct method of sampling TF2 accounts, because giftapults are delivered to any random online account. This will give us a good estimate on how many bots are out there, so long as our sample size is sufficiently large. For a population of around 70,000 accounts, you want a sample size of about 1 to 2%, meaning I needed to send out a minimum of 700 giftapults. I sent out 1,402, a sample size of just over 2%, which is more than sufficient. This was about a 12-hour ordeal of gathering the giftapults, the junk items, wrapping them up, and then sending them out. And by the end of a few afternoons, I was done. Sadly, a username isn't enough to determine whether or not someone's a bot. Thankfully, unbeknownst to me before making this video, Steam keeps track of your inventory history. Every single change to your inventory is logged, so if you send out giftapults, it links every account that receives one. So, I manually scrubbed through all 1,402 accounts to check whether or not each one was a bot. Yeah, I logged their Steam IDs, the account creation dates, and their names. It took me 5 fucking days, but it was worth it because I found some wild shit. Before I show you, you might be asking yourself, how do you know if someone's a bot? I'll give you an example in a moment because they stick out like a sore thumb, but first, as I was going through the accounts, I set 2 ground rules. First rule, if an account was set to private, or if their inventory was private, I automatically mark that as a human. It makes no sense to private bot inventories, namely because other bots, and their owners, need to see when they can trade with each other. Having to manually go into each bot and adjust their privacy settings wastes a lot of time, even when automated. Not to mention, Valve doesn't do anything to stop these bots, so why bother hiding? Additionally, an overwhelming majority of the bots I found were not private in any way, so that backs up my assumptions. Second rule, if an account wasn't set up yet, I automatically mark that as a bot. You'll see why in a moment, but my assumptions were this. Why would someone create a Steam account, and before doing anything else, before changing their name, before uploading a profile picture, anything at all, they immediately dive into TF2? And then stay there for years. That's already suspicious. But of course, a non-zero number of humans do behave this way. Ergo, false positives are inevitable. But rule number 1 likely resulted in some false negatives, and likely balances this out. Those are the caveats to my experiment, but you'll see in just a moment that they're negligible. Alright, enough blueballing. Out of the 1,402 gift-a-pulse, you want to guess how many went to bots? I'll give you a second to think of a number, and I'll publish my data in a pinned comment down below so you can look for yourself. 996 went to bots, which is almost exactly 71% of my sample size. I now have 2 completely isolated methods that have come to the same conclusion. TF2's player count, as reported by Steam, is about 70% bots. At minimum. So let's put a face to these bots, shall we? I divided all of these bots into groups based on similar characteristics, and I'll start with the most common type of bot. Out of the 996 bots, 475 of them are what I call generic bots. All of these bots had a generic human first name. Many of them with a random profile picture, no public friends lists, only 1 or 2 games in their library, if that was public. All of these bots' inventories only had TF2 items. And all of the items were only things you could acquire as item drops or from crafting. Normal weapons and hats, cases, and metal. A few of them had unopened gift-a-pult gifts, and of course, my gifted Strange Count transfer tool. Not a single inventory had used stranges, war paints, or unusuals. No painted cosmetics or renamed items. No achievement items of any kind. No mercenary badge. Nothing that would otherwise indicate human activity. Yes, I checked every single account's inventory. The people in my Discord will verify this because I streamed almost every moment of me scrubbing through these accounts. So very obviously, these accounts do not play the game. They're bots. In fact, many of the names and profile pictures these bots used appeared more than once, which tells me that these bots likely use a preset list of names and pictures. We had 2 Erics, 2 DJs, 2 Ernies, and 3 Ruths. Other bots had more unique names, like Sandshoes or Celine Dion. A subset of these bots all had Russian or Turkic names. You know, very Russian name, strong name, like Kudashina, Megama Karova, Dmitry, you know, Russian name. Bad accent, I know. There was also plenty of repeating or similar profile pictures. Spider-Man was a recurring theme for some reason. Some of these profile pictures were rather on the nose, saying, "For the money." It's kind of funny. Also, accounts with similar features were created around the same time. And many of these bots were so old that they still had their unopened Smithmas stockings dating back to 2017, or even before that. I think the oldest idle account I found dated back to like 2014, 2013, I have to double check. Interestingly, out of the 475 bots, only 2 of them were inside of game servers, according to their profiles. So, thought to myself, fuck it, let's try and join their game and see where it takes me. Sure enough, it didn't work, but it did show me the IP address. Doing a quick search online, and lo and behold, Russia. Seems like these Russian bot hosters fire up a bunch of private VAC-secured servers and then set their bots out to idle. But are all of these 475 generic bots part of the same botnet, operated by one person or the same group of persons? That's hard to say. What is clear is that there's a shitload of these generic bots. Given my sample size, that means about 34% of the players reported by Steam are bots just like this. We have Brian's, Nikki's, Ashley's, and Dimitri's falling out of our goddamn ears. And we've barely scratched the surface. Many of the bots that received Giftapults had very unique naming schemas, very obviously indicating they're part of the same botnet. Thanks to these unique names, I could actually search for them on Steam and find more bots. Sadly, a good portion of these accounts were not set up yet, and if an account on Steam hasn't been set up, it doesn't show up in Steam search, so I couldn't get an exact volume of these. I could extrapolate a volume by using my sample size, but that doesn't necessarily count as finding the bots, so I'll keep a running tally of the bots I manually found down here. This far, we're at 475. The next group of bots I found were all named as a random number, like this. None of the accounts were set up yet, so I couldn't search for more. One could argue, well, how do you know if these are bots if you can't see their inventories? Surely, these must be human, which would hold water if all of these accounts weren't all made within a month of each other. Another group of bots were all named Barrett Ketlik, with a number at the end. Sure enough, all of these accounts were made in a short time frame. I did a quick name search, but it only returned a few more, with almost none of them matching the names of my Giftapult recipients. That tells me that there's definitely a lot more of these accounts out there, but I couldn't find them. The next group of bots I found all used this bizarre naming schema. The same string of characters, a plus sign, and then some random characters. Hey, a little bit of in-post Pete here, pardon the garbage microphone quality. This first set of bots, none of the accounts were set up yet, so I couldn't search for more of them on Steam. But, as I was digging through my data, there was another set of bots with a similar naming schema. All of these were set up, so I did a quick name search, and there's just, 4,400 of these just out there. Nice. Here's a very unique group I deemed the NFT bots, because each of them had a profile picture using a variant of the same pixel art, and a random country of residence. Another group of bots were all named Getchigel another all named Nat with random numbers, and various other bots with similar names. Again, most of these repeating names didn't have accounts set up yet, so I couldn't find more of them. But now, shit's about to get real. The next group of bots I found had a very interesting naming schema. It actually took me a little while to figure out what this bot hoster was doing. As I was sending out Giftapults, I started spotting bots with Mon2 in their name, and then the next day, I spotted Tutu, and then it hit me. This motherfucker is naming groups of bots after the days of the week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and so on. Mon2 and Tutu are very unique names. So after doing a quick name search on Steam, I found that this bot hoster has 1,000 bots for each day of the week, and 2 sets of 1,000 for Monday and Tuesday for some reason. So just this one guy has 9,000 bots. Here's another example. 2 of my Giftapults went to 2 accounts with the exact same name. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this, but here it is. Statistically speaking, since Giftapults are delivered to any random online account, hitting a 1 out of 70,000 dice roll is about a 1 in 5 billion chance. Then, I checked the Steam IDs. 2 separate profiles, both of which were set up. I did a quick name search, over 2,000 accounts all named the same thing. Here's another. All of these bots were named FDDTN with some random numbers. Quick name search, over 4,000 of these bots. Another example. This naming schema uses a random Russian or Turkic name, 3 numbers, and then some random characters. I started noticing that I was hitting duplicates of these, so I name searched each one of them, and sure enough, there's 200 of these bots apiece. And as I was going through this, I found tons of smaller botnets with my wide net. But now, for my biggest catch. Out of the 1,402 Giftapults, a whopping 2 went to accounts with the name of Roldum. But there was something special about these bots. They had a public friends list. I check out that bot's single friend. Sure enough, it was another bot. I click on that one, and this one has more friends. A lot more friends. But that's where I briefly hit a dead end, until I noticed the name of another bot that received a Giftapult. Rubbard, Roldum, random numbers, way too similar to be a coincidence. Sure enough, Rubbard had a public friends list. so I checked that one out. It was friends with Roldum bots. I checked the friends list of the Roldum bot, and it took me to this guy's profile. This is the bot owner. It looks like this guy's friends with some bigger traders, but digging through his friends list just brings up more bot names. Rubbard, Roldum, Argumenter, Flamenco, Flamingo, Hawkshot, a bunch of names. I cataloged all of the different bot names I could find, at least the ones I could find by digging through all of the friends list, which all lead back to this guy or his alt, and I found 14 different names. I searched each one on Steam, at least the ones I could, and it returned anywhere from 1,000 to 4,800 bots each. So, just this one guy, at minimum, because there's guaranteed to be more out there, is running over 20,000 bots. The final tally, I don't know why I'm saying it, you can see it on your screen, 60,000 bots. And I found them quite easily, I might add. They're just chilling out there in the open. Anyone can find them. Yeah. Are all of these bots running at the same time? No, I obviously didn't find all of the bots that are out there, but I consider this definitive proof that giant botnets exist. It's somewhat depressing, but I'm also fairly elated that I found these bots. It's a bit of a relief, because not only does it set my research in stone, but it puts any doubts in my mind to rest. The bots are out there. Here's your proof. They exist. Now, there's likely one more thought lingering in the back of people's minds. How on earth could any of this be profitable? The items these bots are idling for are worth less than a penny apiece. And if you want to trade on Steam at all with any video game, you need to spend, at minimum, $5 per Steam account. And that's just entry-level costs. What about maintenance? You need electricity, hardware, and the physical space to store it in. How on earth could the return on investment for TF2 idling be even close to positive? Few reasons. First, a US dollar goes a lot further in other countries. This is why we see Venezuelans farming gold in RuneScape. Most TF2 botnets appear to be housed in Russia, where the US dollar is worth a lot more. Second, these aren't law-abiding citizens we're talking about here. Many of the Steam accounts used in botnets reach that $5 minimum by using stolen Steam wallet codes. You know, the physical gift cards you see at department store kiosks. There is a whole business around selling physical gift card codes. Visa gift cards, Subway sandwich gift cards, you name it. While digital gift cards don't unlock Steam accounts, wallet codes from physical gift cards do. So this is a potential method for how massive idle farms pay for unrestricted accounts. Alternatively, many botnets, and also cheating bots, use stolen Steam accounts. There are thousands of phishing scam victims a day on Steam, and there is a whole market around buying and selling stolen Steam accounts.
eBay.
All you need to do is buy a bunch of stolen accounts in bulk and then put them to work. This is why you sometimes see cheaters or cheating bots with unusuals. They were stolen, not purchased. But we have one more missing piece. Who buys all of these item drops? It certainly isn't individual players seeking out the weapons they don't already own. They're small potatoes. In reality, it's traders. In fact, this is pretty much all verified by a former employee of Manco Store, who got in touch with me. They worked for Manco Store for 3 years, and they would periodically see the same people offloading thousands of item drops for cash. Another very interesting piece of information the Manco employee told me is that some traders buy these item drops in bulk. They buy massive amounts of items using crypto or something like PayPal, and then dump these items onto cash marketplaces. To summarize, I have a little flowchart here. Bot farms first generate shitloads of item drops. The hosters themselves sell these on cash marketplaces or sell them in bulk to traders for something like crypto or cash. Then, the traders flip these for a profit on cash marketplaces or blend all of these items down into refined metal. They can either sell this metal or trade it for TF2 keys, which can then be sold for cash or used in other trades. So, you can thank botnets and the traders that tap into them for massively inflating the price of keys over the years. So there you have it. I think that pretty much covers everything I missed in my first video. Well, not really sure how to end this video. A lot of hubbub recently with this next iteration of Save TF2, or otherwise known as Fix TF2. Just want to clarify something because a lot of people have been asking me. I had no involvement. I wasn't involved, my video wasn't involved, it wasn't part of it. I was completely in the dark. I had no idea any of this was being planned until Banana Boy let the cat out of the bag. For one, I'm very glad that people are getting on Valve's ass again about TF2, and also their other games. It's deserved, and that's an understatement. The first iteration of Save TF2 got co-opted by all of that toxic positivity nonsense I mentioned in my last video, but they're at least heading in the right direction this time. Part of me wants to say more, but I think I'll watch from the sidelines on this one and let my thoughts on all of this marinate a little bit more in my mind before I say anything else. I will address one piece of criticism from my first video. A lot of people are saying that I made the video as like rage bait to say that TF2 is dead. I don't know why people love twisting words. I mean, this is the internet after all. You go down this infinitely long game of telephone, and by the time you get so far from the original meaning and message, it's become something else entirely. I made my first video and now this video solely with the intention to inform. I didn't proclaim that TF2 was dead or dying in one way or another. Those words never left my mouth. My video had a very strong air of dread because this is something that we should be upset about. And my hope was that once the video was out, it would encourage people to start, you know, talking about the problem again? All the bots? Hello? The insane ratio of bots to humans was by no means common knowledge. Sure, a few people knew, but just because you know something doesn't mean that everyone else does, right? So thankfully now it's very clear to a lot more people that all of these bots are a symptom of Valve's willful neglect and just sheer incompetence, which has furthered along TF2 into this just miserably sorry state it's in now. But it looks like my first video did its job. It got people talking about the bots again, that's great. And now this video serves as follow-through. I've done my part. Now it's on you guys. I'll say what I said in my last video. You don't like how a product's being handled, you don't support the product. You speak with your mouths, you speak with your wallets. It's that simple. Oh yeah, and thank you for 100,000 subscribers. I think it's pretty cool. I understand it's a very niche internet micro-celebrity thing, and personally, it kind of drives me up a wall whenever I see a lot of self-filleting videos, you know, like the YouTuber jerking themselves off. Like, oh, look at me, I have all these followers now. It's like, it wasn't me doing it, it's you guys. You're the subscribers, you're the ones that watch my videos, so really it's all thanks to you. I didn't do this. For some reason, this many people simply enjoy watching what I throw out on the internet, either because I think it's fun or because I think it's something important to talk about. Pretty much all about TF2. It's a low bar to meet because, you know, you could make a garbage TF2 video with a gambling sponsor in the front of it and it's gonna get like 50,000 views in an hour, but it's still cool. And I can't thank you guys enough, so I really appreciate it. Thank you again for all your support, especially to my patrons. You guys really make these videos happen because I don't take sponsors. I don't like taking sponsorships from things I don't personally use. I think it's scummy, I think it's shitty, and it's disingenuous, and I've only ever been genuine with everyone on this channel, and I will continue to do that. Really appreciate it, and yeah, see you next time.